I'm going to start out in Parasternal Long, and today we're going to be really correct about the way we would start a normal echo, and we're going to start with an increased depth. So our depth is already a little bit increased, but I'm going to increase it even more. So I'm going to go out like these. I really like a depth of about 20 or more for this picture because we're looking for any pericardial effusion or pleural effusion, and a pleural effusion would usually be out further than 20 of depth.
And what it'll be is
your depth over here.
it'll be a dark spot that looks similar to what's inside
it'll look
your
like
valve.
the fluid, yeah. Yep. So maybe turn up just a tiny bit more on your side. So then I'm just going to capture this, and it's P1 for this all the time, right? Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then freeze in the P1 again.
Gotcha. And then I'm gonna decrease my depth back to normal, adjust my settings accordingly, because I kind of lightened the, 6 is good. I just like for this to, if I went in any closer, it might kind of cut off this little bright area right here. I like to see the whole heart as much as possible without cutting anything off. It should take up the entire screen.
So the bright part.
Yep. Yeah, the bright part. That's kind of like, you can assume that that's the edge of your pericardium. And I'm just going to take a moving picture there. I liked those 2 beads. I'll take another one because that's really nice. And now you're going to do M mode of the LV at the papillary level. So you can do that from this picture. You can also do that from short axis. But I'm just going to have you do it from long axis. You'll click your M mode line. And on this machine, it goes into M mode right away. I'm going to move the position over here. You want to be beyond the mitral valve and into kind of the mid LV. The papillary muscle is right there, so I really like that. I'm going to change my M mode brightness. You can post-process your gains on this machine as well, but I like to do it while I'm looking at my picture. Jump down the rib space.
You said
Mid, where like the papillary muscles are. So let me go out of M mode and I'll show you that again. Okay, lean back a tiny bit for this one. Nice. So your papillary muscles are kind of right here. I jumped down a rib space to be able to see further into the LV.
Apical.
Yeah, more apical. That's not really an on-axis picture. An on-axis picture, we want to be up higher and you can kind of see the valves really pretty, but to get my M mode, I'm just going to jump down a rib space a little bit because I want my line to be like right there and perpendicular. So do-do-do-do. As perpendicular as I can get it. I like this. Okay, I'm gonna freeze it first because it's gotta be a frozen image, and then I'll P1. So here you can see this is the left ventricular posterior wall right here, and then this is the septum. You see them come together in systole, apart in diastole. You see these little lines too. Does anybody remember what this line is in the middle of the chamber?
Isn't that the cord?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's chordae. Yep. Or the pap, yeah. We're catching like a little bit of cord and papillary muscle right there. So I took that picture. That's all you need from parasternal long axis. Now, I'm going to get my really good long axis before I move to short axis. I'm going to turn my indicator. We're looking at all levels here just in 2D. So I'm going to see this really nice. I'm going to widen my sector width a little bit. It's here, I know it. Don't tell me. I'm sorry, I'm so slow on this machine.
Oh,
It's this one.
It's
You
this
click.
one. Oh my gosh, that's
Do
crazy.
something like. Oh yeah.
Oh
You
yeah,
twist
you twist that one. Thank you.
Then I don't know how to like swing it side to side.
So when you end up widening it, it should be able to tilt. Will be your first option up here. When you click that, you move your trackball to tilt it. Yeah. Yep. You probably won't have to tilt it for this view because we're not really focusing on anything, but I'm just going to get a really good 2D picture. I'm going to kind of zoom in a little bit more with my depth, take it in a notch. I'm going to get a really good 2D picture where I can see all the valves. 1, 2, 1, 2. I like to count how many cycles have passed when I'm doing a retrospective capture just to make sure I have 2 really good ones in a row. And then I'm going to move on. I don't need to do any color for this one. We're kind of mocking up a limited exam. I'm going to move on to the mitral valve level now. So I want to now start to shine my beam a little bit lower. So my tail is going to start going up toward the shoulder and my beam is going to go lower down toward the apex. So I like the mitral valve view here. 1, 2, and then you can see the little mitral valve opening. I'm going to keep shining my beam further down into the apex. Now I'm at the mid-level or the papillary level. So you can see the little papillary muscles right here. I'm gonna wait for 2 really good cycles. I'm actually gonna narrow my sector width a little bit. Oops. 1, 2. 1. Maybe lean forward just a smidge. Okay, you can lean back again.
The tail goes all the way up.
Yeah, the tail for the apex now, I'm gonna jump down a rib space. Remember how I did that before? You're actually getting closer to the apex of the heart by doing that. And keeping my beam pointed down as far as I can go, and my tail up as far as I can go. So now this is the apex. That's gonna be small. You might not see the papillary muscles anymore because they're not as far as the apex. 1,
So you
2.
jumped down to get the papillary and the apex?
Yeah, I
Rib-
don't know if I had to jump down too much to get the papillary muscle. This is upper rib space to get the papillary.
Okay, definitely for the apex.
But for the apex, see when I start to go down, it's like shadowed out.
Yeah.
If I move down an entire rib space, you can see that good teeny tiny circle closing in on itself. Yeah, and that makes sense because as you move down, you are a little closer to the apex. All right, so that's all for parasternals. We're just taking lots of really good 2D pictures. So that's why I'm adjusting my sector width. That's why I think it would be nice for you guys to try the same.
So you decrease your sector width, or you
I
increased it?
decreased my sector
Oh, okay.
width so that I could get better frame rate. Look at your frame rate changing.
Like temporal resolution, right?
Yeah.
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 Oregon.
Okay, now I'm gonna go to. Someone's got their SPI coming up. Now I'm gonna go to apicals.
I don't remember any of that stuff at this point. I've forgotten all of it.
As
Yeah.
soon as
I
I,
don't think
get,
I will. Yeah, I
like
think
Monday afternoon, gone.
Should be good.
Is that what you
maybe
take it
come up
after
a little
class
bit
on
more.
Monday? On a Monday?
Actually, I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to skip class because it's like right during class,
Wow, gorgeous.
which sucks.
Wow, yeah, that's good for her.
Holy
Yeah,
crap.
she's pretty.
She's got a really good.
Really good apical. Yeah, now you guys' standards are high because you're seeing her apicals. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just right away a really good moving image, and it's pretty clear to see this is a good moving image. I'm gonna take it. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is have you guys do something that you did before. I'm gonna have you decrease your depth in on the LV. So a decreased depth also gives you just kind of like a more focused look, and then you have a chance to narrow your sector width just a little bit. You don't want to cut off any bit of this LV.
She went from like 6 to like 5 or something, or
On the sector width?
yeah.
I don't even see.
No,
where you see-
on your depth. On your depth.
Oh, my depth, yeah. I just
Just
want to
a
be able to
couple.
see. I don't
Okay.
want to cut off the mitral valve annulus. The mitral valve should be at the very bottom of the screen. If I went in closer, I'm
Yeah,
kind
you
of
cut it
cutting
off.
off the
Okay.
edges.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
so I just wanted
Okay.
to take up as much space as possible without cutting off the base.
Got it.
Because this is, I want you to be able to see every left ventricular wall segment here. And that's our focus today. So once I like this picture, I'm just gonna take it. Beautiful. And then I'm gonna come out. Remember, this is a limited echo. So if we were doing this quickly, if we were assessing like really fast because this patient was destabilizing or something, you would have these pictures. Then you could later on go back and post-processing. So when you're away from the patient, you could then use this picture zoomed in to do a Simpsons biplane. Right? That's a good measurement for that. Okay, so now I'm going to come back out, and now I'm going to use pulse waves. So switching modalities or switching ideas. Remember, this is a limited echo, pretending we're looking for wall motion abnormalities and function, or pericardial effusion. So I'm going to do something here, pulse wave at the mitral valve leaflet tips. I'm going to put pulse wave. Hey there!
What's up, Johnny?
Hi.
I'm going to put pulse wave here at the mitral valve leaflet tips. Oh my god, the sound is so overwhelming to me. Thank you. So I'm going to update it and make sure that it is at the mitral valve leaflet tips. And then I'm going to make all my adjustments to get this to be the prettiest as possible. So I'm going to lower my baseline. I'm not looking at any information below the baseline. All I'm looking at is inflow. I'm going to change my gain to be lower so that inside of that signal is nice and dark and laminar. And then here's what I'm going to do that's different from anything. Remember in the past when we've been looking at Doppler, we've sped up the sweep speed so we can see 3 cycles but really no more for more accurate measurements. This time, pretending we did have a respirometer, yeah. If we did have one, we would put it on here so we could show both EKG and breathing. I'm going to speed it slow it way down. Down to 1 or 0. Yeah, 0 is I guess the slowest it can go.
Wow.
Now what this does is it shows us several different cycles of breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. And these should stay relatively the same. In young people, they can change a little bit with inspiration and expiration.
I can
because
see a
of the
little bit of
pressures.
change there.
Yeah, you would
can
see a little
you can
variation.
See it going up
Yep.
and then down.
So any variation greater than like double or half. So I'm gonna show it frozen. If this was inspiration here and then this is expiration here, if the inspiration was twice the size of expiration, you would see like a marked change. It would be like going like this. That would show that there's really, really, really variable pressures in the heart, which would give us a clue as to whether or not tamponade was
Yes,
present.
tamponade.
Yep.
That's what you're looking for. Is
That's what
tamponade.
you're looking for. So you're going to do this both at the mitral valve leaflets and the tricuspid valve leaflet tips. So I'm going to take this, then I'm going to unfreeze, and I'm assuming I have my picture still. I can now just kind of swing over. See how I'm swinging? I'm rocking this picture way over. Why would I do that?
To center it.
To center it so that my pulse wave signal can stay parallel. So now I'm putting it at the tricuspid valve leaflet tips. I did that by just rocking this tail. See, watch my tail do this.
Very cool.
Rocking my tail right brings my image right. Now I'm going to update, and I should get something that looks pretty similar. It's just going to be lower velocities. Tricuspid valve is not as good of a signal, but it should be lower velocities because everything moves a little slower on the right side of the heart. Yeah? All right, so now I'm going to increase my scale a little bit so I can, or decrease my scale a little bit so my signal is bigger. Tricuspid valve usually comes out looking less pretty. It's just not. All right, I see what's going on. We see an E and an A, don't we? A. I'm going to take that. I'm going to try to make it a little bit prettier for you guys. That's just about as good as it's going to get. I'll show a couple of these. My wall filter is too high. Do you guys see that? I'm going to go over to the wall filter and change that. Where are you?
How do you know it's too high?
I know it's too high because I can see it's like blacked out at the
Oh,
baseline.
I see. Okay.
Wall
All right,
filter.
that makes sense.
Know that for
Okay.
this.
So
yeah.
now when I
Yeah.
decrease my wall filter, that means it's not filtering out as many low velocity signals. So you get
Got
that
it.
lower velocity signal.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, I'm done being really picky. I want you guys to be though because we really don't have that many measurements to take on this. Okay, so now going back, I'm going to now change my sweep speed back to more of a normal thing because assuming that we were doing more Doppler, I would want it to be back to normal for the next thing. All right, I'm going back to 2D. Our next picture is going to be from 2 chamber. So staying in the same window, apical, but just twisting my indicator. I'm gonna get this really pretty 2-chamber view.
Towards the left shoulder, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
your indicator is going now counterclockwise. I'm
Just
gonna
making
increase
sure
my
I got it in
gains.
my head right.
You got it, dude. I'm gonna take this picture and then I'm going to decrease my depth again. We're just getting closer to the LV. We're seeing the LV a little bit better. Taking this. And this is again, you want your depth to just include that mitral valve annulus, but really not much more. I could maybe even go in a little closer, but then it just kind of threatens to cut it off. All right, but I'm gonna take that anyway because now I got 2 really good pictures. And that's all we're gonna do from 2-chamber. So we're gonna do the same thing from 3-chamber. We're just getting all the views that we would get from a stress echo and that we want to label on our assignments. So
Did
we
you
can
just
see.
keep going
Yeah, I'm
counterclockwise?
sorry, I didn't explain that. So bringing my indicator back to 2-chamber, what I did is now I'm just gonna continue to go in that same direction counterclockwise and just rotate
Okay,
until
gotcha.
you start to see that aortic valve open up.
Very
See
cool.
that?
Okay, yeah.
It is, yep. So this is just like if the parasternal long axis was just like
90 degree.
90 degrees. And that is exactly true for where it is translationally in the body. I'm going to take it again because I need to open up my valves more. Okay, now I'm also going to do the same thing on the LV here. I'm going to take it in and really make sure that I do not cut off the annulus, but I'm as close as I can possibly be to the LV.
Okay, and you're changing your depth to zoom in on
I'm
that?
changing my depth, yeah.
Okay, just make sure.
Yeah. I mean, you can use the zoom function, but the depth is the better
Depth
function to
is best.
use.
Yeah, no, zoom just makes it.
I actually would, if you don't mind when we're done, like
Yeah.
to see how you do zoom on this.
Absolutely.
I was using it, I couldn't like adjust the size of the zoom.
Yeah, so pretend I was using zoom. I would use zoom to look at the valves. You would use zoom, decreasing your depth if you're just doing something at the top or the bottom of your screen, but say you want to look at something in the middle of your screen, I would go zoom on it. So it's going to be this guy. And so now all you have the option to do is just to move your box around, right? To change the size of your box, you're gonna toggle these kidney beans. So the size, now if you roll your trackball forward or up, you're gonna get closer to it. So like
It
you're
shrinks
zooming
your
in.
it shrinks your box.
It shrinks your box over here. If you have that same function selected size and you're moving it out, you're kind of zooming out further. So you're making your box bigger. And then you press that same kidney bean to toggle back to position.
Sweet.
Does that make
Very
sense?
cool. Yeah.
Of
Yes,
course.
it does.
You got it, dude. Yeah, these kidney beans are very confusing. Okay,
And also,
so then to
you
get
can
out of
also
it.
just spin
Yeah, you
your
can
wheel
spin
to
if you
do
don't want
to adjust the whole thing, and then use your trackball to move.
If you don't want to toggle between the kidney beans, that's a really good
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Anyways.
Nice. Lost my picture so effectively. Okay, that's all for your apicals. So now I'm going to have you lie on your back all the way, and we're going to do some subcostals. So subcostals is going to be really important for looking for pericardial effusion. As you can see all the way around the entire heart. So I'm going to go right underneath the ribs, right where it becomes kind of soft. Her knees are up. That's really helpful.
See how you get this.
Yeah, so I'm kind of putting my probe pretty parallel to the skin, but not so much because when you do that, I'm going to bring my depth out.
Oh my god, that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Your indicator straight towards the head.
My indicator is actually straight toward me, so it's
You-
right to the
okay.
right, yeah.
Like the apical.
Yeah, that makes sense. So apical, but it's a subcostal. Okay, that's
Mhm.
cool.
This is just like an apical 4. So take a tiny breath in, hold it right there,
Nice.
Wow.
breathe. Perfect.
Not getting it.
That's awesome.
Take a little breath in again, hold it right there, breathe. What are we seeing over here? What's that? It's not pericardial effusion.
Liver?
It's a mere artifact. See that?
It's getting into the lungs right there, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So right here, we're see that little valve flicker? We're kind of seeing a mirror image artifact right there. That's normal. That happens in this window.
What's that? The tricuspid valve?
Yep, that's the tricuspid valve. That's the tricuspid valve.
It just looks really
that's
low.
That's the mitral valve. And see what happens when I tilt anterior? That's your aortic valve. It's just like apical. When you tilt anterior, you open your aortic valve because your aortic valve is an anterior structure. It's just the same. So now here's what's going to happen. All I want is a 2D picture, moving image, just like what I just did. Increasing your depth a little bit might be helpful so you can make sure to see all the way around the heart. But that's all I need from this view. Now we're going to go to the short axis of the subcostal or the IVC view. I'm going to twist my indicator so now it's up toward the neck. So here you see that really pretty IVC. But then you're seeing something over here, right? This is the tricuspid valve. This view is pretty much equivalent to your short axis at the valve level. Look at. Sorry to say look at, I'm a Midwesterner. Look at that. That's your pulmonary valve, your pulmonic valve. That's your aortic valve. That's your tricuspid valve. It's just like short axis from parasternal. Now, if I start to angle my beam more posterior or inferior, I can open up that mitral valve. Sorry, it's not the best view. I'm zoomed. I can open up the mitral valve, and then it's going to be, yeah, you can. Take a breath in. Hold it there. This is your papillary muscle level. Doesn't it look just like that? And then this is apex. It's really teeny tiny. Okay, you can
Very
breathe.
cool.
Yep. So that's all there. I'm going to come out of Zoom so you can see where that is in relation to. So if you got your IVC, it makes sense that that dumps into the RA, right? That's the RA, and then there's your tricuspid valve, right ventricle, pulmonic valve, pulmonary artery, and its branches. If I'm kind of scanning down, then you start to see this. What's this?
The aorta.
That's the aorta. And if you put color on it,
Should be
you
going
can see
away,
nice
right?
pulsatile, bright red flow. It kind of flashes even into our scale is not really high enough.
Oh no, it's it's going
If we
towards
put our
you.
scale high enough, then we'll see more red.
Wow.
It's very fast flow because it is from the aorta and it's going pretty intensely to the rest of the body. But yep, so when you scan down, if you're not focusing on it, if you scan your beam kind of like down toward the right hip, you're gonna see that come up on the screen over there. But since you're not really focused on it, you're mostly looking at this IVC over here, you might not catch it. So for the purposes of this assignment, sorry I kind of got sidetracked. For the purposes of this assignment, you're just gonna do the same thing that you've been doing. I want you to practice maybe on a different person now. Get the IVC.
Can you guys see the blood flow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the IVC and then put an M mode through it. See it collapse in time. Okay, then give me a sniff. One more. Nice.
It's crazy.
Take a picture of it after it's frozen. That's it. Good job, guys. Good job, me.
Index when you did with a